Oh,
Oh, and welcome to Talking Crit. Mike has his freaking hat on.
Texas
I'm
Ranger.
censoring myself because the YouTube has been demonetizing certain videos for topics such as talking about the CCP. Yeah, you know me. I'm down with CCP, yo. Maybe having his fingers on the scale and me too, yo. Awards.
Uh,
Yeah, there's this topics they don't like you talking about. It's like, what the
Wait,
hell?
are they censoring that topic that you just
It's
mentioned? They're not
demonetized,
censoring that,
or
are they?
yeah, it's been throttled.
Whoa, 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 whoa! On YouTube, so you cannot talk
Yes,
about that.
I can talk about it. I can talk about it. I'm just listen. If a good video makes me like $4, this will make me 40 cents. That's
Cha-ching! All right, well, let's
yeah.
do this. I've got a
They
dollar in my
throttle.
wallet over there. How about if I just take that dollar, and give it to you, and we can talk about it tonight? I'll just pay you the
We're gonna talk
dollar.
about it anyway. Because most of my every gamer's health gets demonetized,
Oh
almost
boy,
without exception.
because you talk about health and
Yeah,
game health, and health is like a verboten, right? You
verboten
know.
unless you're
Oh boy.
taking a company line on that.
Yeah.
By the way, folks, if we haven't told you already, I'm Eric Tenkar. This is Bad Mike, North Texas RPG Con fame. Bad Mike's
I got to
books.
rep the Rangers because
Yeah, 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 yeah.
the chance they're going to repeat this year is very low. So I'm going to live vicariously through them all through spring training. So
Mike told me he's gonna wear it every day and not wash it.
I have actually I have three. I bought three championship shirts. Now this is actually I bought three shirts, so I can just rotate them. I can
Yeah,
rotate them.
the shirts
And,
I
and,
like
and my
are
and my calf.
the championship shirts that are made, and then they actually want to be in the losing team. Those are the shirts that I want.
The
It's
ones
like
that those are the ones they send to like Haiti because
yes,
they have to make them before the last game.
yes.
They end up making them, and then if they don't win, what happens to those shirts? They can't just destroy them. Well, they don't. They ship them to third world countries, and so there's some really funny videos out there of people wearing stuff like Diamondbacks World Series champions or who was like last year who played the Chiefs last year in the Super Bowl and lost. I
Not
can't
even
remember. Oh,
sure.
the
I
Eagles.
don't.
Yeah. I think it was the Eagles. Eagles championship shirts. Like they're in Haiti, so they can send them all to Haiti. So these people in Haiti are wearing shirts that they don't want to destroy, but they don't. You're not going to ever see them for sale in the United States. So that's a great bit. I always love that bit.
So since I mean honestly, YouTube ads pays between I'm pulling back the curtain before we really start the show on Strong.
Oh,
YouTube ads usually pays somewhere between 75 and $150 a month, depending on the monetization, how much gets demonetized, how the views are. It's keeping Mike and everybody else in like
cha-ching.
working equipment, but it's not doing anything significant. It's not something that if I wasn't making it, I would miss it. If you want to support this channel and get something for doing it, you can use our affiliate links. Right now on the bottom of the screen, there are two. Both of them start with tenkars-tavern.games. One is /DS, that is for Dragon Slayer. That
Mm-hmm.
is Greg Gillespie's newly released rule set that's kind of basic AD&D, rudely mashed with AD&D 1E, and it is a really, really awesome game. I want to write a bar class for it, just so you know, but it hasn't happened yet, but I'm working on it.
Oh. Mm.
Yeah, I know, because
Well,
Greg's
it
never going to write
it
it.
looks good. Yeah,
It
it
does.
looks good. By the way,
And,
I have some ideas about the Bard class, but I
ooh,
can't.
okay, so
I
maybe Mike and I will both work on
I
it.
don't know. I kind of want to save it for my game when I come up with my game, but I have some good
But
ideas.
you're not
I
going
have
to.
some ideas for the Bard class because I think so. Here's my take on how they've done the Bard class wrong. The Bard class should be about okay, so a bard, or it goes back to the scald, which basically they would tell these tales, right? Tell these historic tales of Beowulf and stuff happening. I don't think D&D games include that enough. I think they just look upon as a bard as a dude. He's a dude with the banjo that goes around, killing monsters and playing songs and buffing everybody up. Whereas there should be a big part of the class should be about composing works of art. Matter of fact, that should be something that gets you experience when you compose. Let's say your party goes and they raid an orc slayer and they kill him, and then on the way back they surprise a couple of frost giants and kill them. Well,
Hmm.
then the player should say, okay, I'm gonna write a ballad about that, and there you should go through a whole process, which I did in my game for years and years. So the
Okay.
bard character would have to compose a work based on that, and then we'd roll based on the charisma how popular that ballad became, and if it came a certain amount of popularity, they would get experience for that. And I think that's the one thing the bard class always overlooks is the fact these guys are composing epic poetry, epic stories, epic songs, and it just kind of every bard class I've ever seen just kind of blows that off. I mean, doesn't even talk about it. Doesn't
Well,
even
now
include it as a part of the
with
class.
all the AI writing programs, anybody, and even if certain illiterate Fs, who I'm not going to name, could actually play that kind of a bard. Assuming they could figure out what proper prompts to put into ChatGPT. Uh,
I'm I'm just saying. You agree with me though, right? That's something
no,
the bard
I,
class is always overlooked. I mean,
you're right.
going back to AD&D to first edition to second edition. Now I'm not as familiar with third, fourth, fifth, all that, but I don't ever hear about somebody saying, "Hey, my bard just composed this kick ass um, heroic poem, and so where's my experience points?" And that's the way it should be. Like, okay, and you roll. It's okay, yeah. You do this, but you have to perform. You got to perform your thing too. You can't be a bard that's in the dungeon all the time. Nobody's hearing your epic poetry. They're not hearing your epic songs or whatever. So, anyway, that was the kind of what my bard class when I did it. I added that as a experience point kicker is that you had every level you had to compose something based on something you did that level. Some battle you had, and we had over the years we had some pretty funny interactions, um, play interactions based on that. One time I was playing with both my brothers and my youngest brother had this badass half orc fighter who they got into combat and he ran from combat for some reason. I don't remember what the circumstances were, but he ran because they weren't going to defeat the monster. Everybody's going, dude, why are you running? And so his ballad was a ballad of the cowardly half orc fighter. And whenever he performed it, my other brother threatened to kill him. He said, I will kill your bard. My character will kill your character if you perform that where he can hear it. Because he does not want to hear the ballad of the cowardly half orc fighter. And so they had a whole long running feud based on that song, based on that performance, because the bard would perform it. He just would make sure that and so I would have characters walk up to I would have NPCs walk up and go, "Oh, hey, are you the cowardly half orc that I hear about in the and your bard has a great song about you." And then of course, then he would rage and he would take the guy and put him upside down and smash his head against the sidewalk because he was kind of a barbarian half orc. Anyway,
Yeah.
it made for some funny. It was a good addition because it made for some funny aspects of the game. And then he also had some. He had a list of all the. My brother had a list of all the songs he performed, and so. And it was cool because you look back on them and go, "Oh, I remember that battle," and it was fun because when you got to high level, you'd look back and go, "Man, that seemed like such a badass battle when we fought that wraith," and now we're like ninth level, and it's like, psh. But back when we were third level, and you composed the ballad of the horrible wraith or whatever, and we had to fight the wraith, and we were almost dying, and then somebody pulled out a silver hand axe and hit it in the head and killed it, and so anyway, just something to think about. That's my suggestion for the bard classes. You need to include the fact they compose epic poetry, songs, and stories as
There
part of
you
the class.
go. Tom V. In the Gaslight RPG, there was an optional rule for a reporter accompanying you. You only got experience for what was he observed and reported on. But if he
Oh, I
got
like
killed,
that.
then nothing.
Oh, I like it. I like
But you
that.
needed him to be in the front of the action to see what you did. Oh, interesting. That is pretty damn
I like
good.
that.
By,
Yeah.
by the way, the other link up there is for Cyberpunk Red and 2020. So the classic Cyberpunk 2020, Cyberpunk Red. Uh, it, it, listen, I owned a lot of the original Cyberpunk 2020. By Mike Pondsmith, I so desperately wanted to run that, and my group had no fucking interest in sci-fi.
Yeah, and the problem with my problem with the Cyberpunk game was always that technology outpaced the rules
Yep.
always, because my favorite one was where I think it was Shadowrun or Cyberpunk where you could where you could jack in a a deck to your neck, like to a plug to the back of your
Mhm.
head. Like in the 30 years in the future, we're going to need keyboards. You know,
Right, and
I mean,
and you have to have wireless.
yeah, they weren't wireless. You had to jack it in there. And nowadays, not only do we have wireless, we have keyboards don't even exist. You shine a light and you push your fingers and you get. I mean, so there's so many other ways they could have gone with Cyberpunk that would have made more sense. And now it's kind of quaint and funny that you have to jack in an actual keyboard into your head to use your keyboard. So,
Go figure. Well, another
by
game.
the way, somebody mentioned about the bard in The Witcher, so that they have a character. So the part I'm running now, they have an NPC called Bingo the Bard. He's a human, so it's a elf, it's a dwarven party. Since we're running Dwarven
Right?
Deep, which is it's all dwarves, and he accompanies them on their groups on their trips. He does not take a shared treasure. Every once in a while, I'll throw him a gem, but what he does is he's using it to get fame. And so he accompanies the dwarves, and when whatever they do, he composes a ballad about it. Then he goes back to town. He performs it for the other dwarves, and so he's kind of their, I don't know, their mouthpiece. Their,
There
their.
you go.
And anyway, so yeah, and now he's becoming famous in the town because their group's becoming more and more powerful and defeating more, more and more powerful foes. And so that's his whole shtick is he accompanies them. It's kind of like that character, kind of like the Witcher guy, the guy, the bard, the Witcher or whatever, and then he just kind of goes along and he's always, and of course he inflates his role in the battle always, even though he rarely does anything. He inflates his role quite a bit, where he ends up saving the party at the end. And the rest of the party kind of rolls their eyes, like, all right, whatever, you know. And so they'll hear the bard, they'll hear the 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 performance and go, man, it doesn't sound like our adventure at all, because they had one where they oh, they ambushed two hill giants. And the party's only third or fourth level. I mean, this is a nasty battle, and so they ambush two hill giants and they kill one really quick. And then the bard he gets on his horse and rides in front of the other one as a distraction. And then the giant throws a rock, almost kills him, hits him, and he rides off. He rides off in the woods and hides after that because he's almost dead. And then the rest of the bards surround the hell giant, hack him death. Well, when they heard the song, for some reason the bard was riding at the front with his sword raised, and he went and lopped the head off the giant as the dwarves assisted him. And so anyway, it's a fun role playing exercise to have the bard in there too. So
Definitely.
bards don't have to be assholes. They can be fun, man. I'm telling you, bards can be fun. They don't have to be assholes.
Oh, wait. Are you saying that because if I write a bard, they're going to be an asshole?
No, it's just that most people play bards like assholes. And I don't
Oh, okay.
understand. It's like they have this picture of they're like these horn dogs, like these. It's like if Mick Jagger became a bard, they're all horn dogs that play music to get chicks. And I look on it as, I think bards are more like storytellers that are opportunistic. They want to hang out with your party so they can tell the story of how you guys were great. So at least that's
Mhm.
how I look at it. So I'm just telling
There you go.
you.
Okay.
Hmm.
Well, here I'm gonna go in a direction that Mike's not going to expect. If he didn't discuss
Oh
this
dear.
before this show.
Okay. All right.
All right. So I was
Good.
watching another YouTube channel because I saw that somebody was saying that no more print D&D books, and I was like,
Okay.
wow, somebody got a scoop on me because Mike and I are following this, and we've never said it's going
Yeah.
to be that there's not going to be no more. We're saying that there's something pivoting away. That to us is obvious. All the signs are there. Our sources tell us that. But
Sure.
there's still going to be some physical. There might probably be small print runs, but they don't want to be stuck with this warehouse full of dead tree shit when they can steer you into their digital direction. So the channel I was listening to was the pundit, the RPG pundit,
Look.
and
Hey. Whatever you think about the pundit, his broadcast infuriating me because the way he spends the first 15 minutes pimping his products, and then there's just things infuriate me. But he will have a good take every once in a while, something,
yes,
or
oh, yeah,
if
certainly.
not a good take, at least something that gets you thinking.
Well,
But so so it just
he
depends.
he starts mentioning that he was watching my channel and mentions how boring I am. So, folks,
Uh,
I really appreciate the fact that I have the 3,200 plus subscribers that I have because you put up with this boring fuck. God bless you. However, this information that he got about print going away, you know what the source was? Me.
Shockwaves
I'm listening
breaking
to it
news.
and I'm scratching my head going, did I ever say the print was done? Like there's no more print D&D books? I mean, I didn't say that. I'd be surprised by that. But I certainly would believe that they've de-emphasized that they're doing this whole move pivot toward digital. And then he actually gave a compliment. And now, by the way, this coming from the pundit, it's a huge compliment because he doesn't like most anybody or anybody. I mean, I think so. Apparently, I have a better whisper network than pretty much anybody. I might be boring, but I'm accurate, and I may have a better whisper network than the pundit. That was his own words, folks. The whisper network is you all. All right, it's the audience. It's what I call the taverners. These are the people that email me, PM me, reach out to me on Discord. You all are the reason that me, Mike, especially me and Mike, because we're the ones that cover all this stuff on Wednesdays, that we are so damn accurate with our observations is because you point us in the right directions.
And we
We want
can't
to thank
even
you all.
we don't even tell you the inside info we get because that's as police officers know, as Eric knows, that's called protecting your
Right,
CIs. And we don't even we hear stuff that we're just like, "Ah, I want to say something, and we just don't because we can't, because it's obvious who would have told us that, or they tell us, hey, don't tell this, but blah blah blah,
right,
and so a lot of the stuff we talk about is based on inside information that we know that we just can't share.
right,
It's fun to know these things, but then you also have to respect your sources. And every once in a while they'll say, "Yeah, you can say this, just keep my name out of it," which is always cool. Then we're like, "Oh,
right,
cool." Then
right.
we
Sometimes you got
know,
to tiptoe around it. A lot of times we'll talk about stuff and we'll be like, this is a confirmed rumor. Now, if we're talking about confirmed rumors, it means we have a direct source. They don't want to be named. They feel very accurate in what they're telling us. But since we can't name the source, you can't go and confirm it.
Mhm.
We're going to call it a confirmed rumor, which means take it with a grain of salt. We could be wrong. If we call something flat out a rumor, it means that we're hearing the whisperings that you are.
We're hearing the same
Um,
thing you are. Yeah,
the
we're not.
pivot,
Yeah, we're not going to
yeah, the pivot
swear
away
to it on a
from
court of law.
yeah, the pivot away from print. That is, I would consider a confirmed rumor. Okay, pivot away does not mean leaving it all behind. Your core books, I'm sure, are still going to be in print. I'm sure there's going to be starter sets. There'll probably be limited print runs on most stuff because, hey, you don't want to leave money on the table. But
So are
yeah,
you saying so let me get this straight. So pundit was saying you're boring, but he was also saying did he give you credit for this rumor, or he
yeah,
just like pulled
yeah.
this out
No,
and you're
he
like,
gave
what?
me
Oh,
credit. Yeah,
okay.
I got credit
You're
for
just
it, and
boring. You're
I
just
have a.
very boring. Yeah.
I'm just
You're
very
so
boring.
yeah, you're so
So
boring how you do it.
I really
Does
do.
he still not show his face, or does he
Oh no, he
still
doesn't
see
show
that?
his face.
He
No, no,
doesn't, or he
no.
does.
He
See,
shows
that's
his
one thing
product.
I don't like. Yeah,
He
I
shows.
hate that. That's absolutely that's talk about boring. That's what's boring when he's talking to his cat and he's showing his product and they look. They want to see who you are. I'm sorry. I love Joe the lawyer, but Joe the lawyer's never going to have a show like this because Joe the lawyer must remain anonymous and can't show his face, and nobody wants to look at a screen for 2 hours. And so that's one of my big problems with pundit. It's just that I want to see him talking and reacting and his facial expressions, yada yada, whatever. And I don't want to hear about his cat and see his cat. Oh wait. Speaking of which, where's my cat? Let's see. Let me pull my
Where's
cat
the
out.
kitty?
Um, she's hiding. Not like I don't pull my cat out and mess with her. I don't make the show about her though. Anyway, so yeah, that's one thing I don't like about his system. But I mean, he does what he does. I don't understand. I mean, that's like it's not like somebody's gonna say, "Oh, I saw that guy in Uruguay. I'm gonna go kick his ass now. I know who he is."
Well, Taeda says that he actually shows his face periodically, but just not on his own channel. All right, well,
Okay,
whatever.
well, weird,
Yeah,
odd.
you may see Joe the lawyer periodically in the distance as part of the crowd at like North Texas when we
I
do our
saw him in
live
North
stream.
Texas. Yes,
Yes,
yes, I saw his. Well, I did kind of know what he looked like because I'd seen him after hours when we
yes.
all get together, and I've seen Joe before, but yeah, so that's always that's kind of a thing now. I mean, look in the Wild West days, there was lots of people that did podcasts not showing their face. I mean, and there's lots of people that to this day just our friends Mike and Liz. Mike and Liz do podcasts where they don't do YouTube streams.
Right.
So that they their voice, the dulcet tones of Liz and Mike, but you don't see their face. That's a different animal kind of. That they don't have a YouTube stream. But if you have a YouTube stream now and you're not showing your face, I just think it's kind of odd. It's
Well, I mean,
I don't think it helps you. I don't think it helps you. I really don't.
it doesn't help. I mean, again, Joe doesn't show his face, but Joe usually tries to find a funny avatar to look at that you can appreciate as opposed to just shilling your product.
I mean, I'm
A
not
good
saying look at
product. Don't
these
get me wrong. The
look
pundit
at
does
these
good
two
stuff,
guys
but
here. I mean, it's not like we're Arnold Schwarzenegger and Sly Stallone here. I mean, we're,
no,
we're yeah, oh yeah, no, and so it's not like we're getting extra viewers because look at those two guys they're ripped and they're
yeah,
hot. No,
they're
no, we're not getting
I
that.
could on a bad day I could do an impression of that
Mm.
of the Scott from oh God, I want the baby in me belly. Put the baby in me belly.
What that
Austin
baby
Powers too.
in my belly?
Yeah,
Yes.
and I'm thinking, get my,
No,
no,
we don't have any. We have no chops at all. We have zero
no,
chops
no.
when it comes to that.
By the way, Tammy, you actually, I have to watch. I wasn't able to view the video yesterday because I was in my game. I was actually playing in Joe Lawyer's AD&D 2E by
Nice.
the books.
Oh dear.
Oh, look at that! I got balloon. Balloon. But I'll
Ah,
have to watch Don's video later on today, so I can see David Floor.
Peter, which one of us is Dom DeLuise? Oh wait, I already answered. I must be Dom. You're Bert. You're Bert, and I'm Dom.
I'm Burt Reynolds much later in his career. You
He
know,
started.
when
He
he
started sliding. He started sliding.
first
Right? Yeah.
starts floating, when you only got when almost every shot was like here up because you didn't want to see the gut.
Oh yeah.
My
I
God.
love me some old Dom and Bert. And the thing is with so many of their movies is those guys they absolutely loved each other in real life. And they loved each other. I mean they were the best friends
Mhm.
ever. And so if you see their outtakes and their some of their vintage interviews they did, it's freaking hilarious. Those guys just were they were having a ball 24/7 when they were hanging out together. So it's those guys, and that's kind of how Eric and I are. We're having a ball all the time. We're hanging
Yeah,
out
no,
together. We're always having a ball.
this this
Yes.
is this is all natural because if you have ever seen us working like the Frog God booth at a convention prior to COVID, which changed the world,
Oh yeah,
but this is how we were. This is how we spent our days.
pretty
It
much.
was
We had a show going the whole con like the whole Gary Con. We'd have our own show going
yeah.
among with each other because we'd be just riffing off each other and looking at people and talking to people and just going just constant show that would just keep going on. So um,
So is this real or is this Memorex? It's real, folks. It's real.
yeah, that's why we're boring because we don't
Right.
entertain you.
Mr. Gunn wants to
Entertain you.
know what's new in gaming stupid.
Oh, we got lots of game. Well, we got
Yeah,
some. We got some.
we got
We have some products to talk about, or some things to talk about.
yeah, Mike.
Well,
Fill out the
first of
phone.
all, I wanted to pimp a few things. Let's do some pimp items here.
Okay.
Matt Finch came out with his City Encounters product. It is on Drive Through RPG. We don't have a link for it, sorry, but Matt Finch is one of our favorite dudes, and he does Swords of Wizardry, and um, he does some great products. He did this product. I thought I had one down here a few years ago called Journeys or it's basically the way you can roll up random journeys, and so he has basically this product. What I gathered from it, I didn't download it yet. It's rolling up city encounters. It's awesome if you're doing a city encounter. So I'm gonna get it and do a further review. But anything by Matt Finch is like a must buy for me. Um,
Pretty much.
our buddy James Spawn has a product.
Yeah.
It's called is it Music Van? I can't remember. Oh, was it
No, no,
Music
no,
Van?
no. It's a
Oh,
wizard van.
Wizard Van. So it harkens back to those crazy days of the '70s when your rock band would all jump inside a van
I
with wizard
changed
stuff
the
on the
link down
side.
below.
Yes, and so it looks like a blast. I read the description of it. It looks awesome. And you can influence the game also if you bring rock and roll memorabilia to the session, which I think is cool. Like if you wear a Rolling Stones t-shirt, you wear your Who t-shirt,
It's,
and then so you get
but
bonus
is it?
points.
But that's not a Who T-shirt that you wore in your youth, right?
I wore it in my youth, and I could not wear it now if you paid me. But I would.
Yeah,
But
same.
for game funniness, I'd probably try to wear it to a game of Wizard
Yeah,
Van
there
just
you go.
just to watch it all bulge out everywhere.
I'd
Just
have
like
to
my
have my
my bonus experience.
anthrax breaking the law. No, no, the judges did when he did the Judge Dredd rip, and I am the law, and then I have like two or three
I
Ramones
do, yeah.
shirts theoretically.
This is a Who faded shirt, and this is oh look, Echo of the Bunnyman. Yes. I used to buy a lot. I have quite a stack of. By the way, I started selling my concert T-shirts on eBay because not only will they not fit me anymore, they would never fit me again, and my kids and grandkids are not interested. I try to get them interested. My grandson, my oldest grandson, he snagged one of my ELO T-shirts because he liked the way it looked. He
Uh-huh.
liked the. I got it like an '84 or so, and okay, it fit. You see my grandson, right? You seen him,
Yes,
Eric. It fits him. How little must I have been in the 1980s? It fits him. I mean, the yellow T-shirt fits him perfectly.
he doesn't wear it like a tent.
No, it just fits on him. And I'm thinking, yeah, I guess I weighed about 210 back then. 100. That was like 100 pounds ago. And I'm like, yeah, I guess I could fit in that shirt back then. So yes, I've been selling one. I sold a Clash T-shirt. Now this T-shirt was hilarious because it was a sleeveless T-shirt. I must
Uh-huh.
have looked like the biggest dork ass idiot in 1982 when I was wearing that, or maybe I looked good in it. I don't know, but I sold it to a young lady in California, and she was very sweet. And she said, "I just wanted to let you know that I'm actually wearing the T-shirt." And she sent me a picture of her wearing the T-shirt. I thought it was hilarious. It looks great on her. It looks great.
Right.
She was like young. She's like in her 30s or something. And so so I was very happy to know that a T-shirt that was in my closet for the last 30 years is actually being worn by a punk rock fan who thought it was cool to wear a Clash T-shirt. But I'm never going to wear it again. I'm not wearing sleeveless anything at this point in my life. That's frightening.
Yeah,
That
yeah,
thought's
pretty
scary.
much. Tie. Yeah, no, the clothes have not shrunk. I think
That's it. No, I
we have
should have washed
gotten
it in hot
bigger.
water. Yeah.
Yeah,
I
there you
and I
go.
had a Rush Moving Pictures T-shirt. I gifted that to our buddy Alex Kamer, who is a huge Rush fan, and he was just a small lad, but he was a small lad when Rush Moving Pictures came out in '82, '83, and so I gifted him my shirt, and he was very appreciative. He thought it looked awesome. And it actually fit. And once again, you've seen Alex. It fit Alex. I'm just thinking, how little must I have been back then? I mean,
Yeah.
these guys that we know now that are, like weigh, 150 pounds soaking wet. That it fits them fine. So I don't know how much I would weigh back then, but those were the good old days, man. Let me tell you.
All right, so I can agree with Mr. Gunn's comment here. Saying like, gotta have sleeves. No one wants to see my side boob. No, no, not allowable.
I'm
My
rocking some.
boobs cannot
I'm
be
rocking a
seen in
little dope.
public.
Maybe I'm rocking some B cups here right now, baby. Maybe some C. I don't
I don't know
know.
how that measurement happens.
Mix them into quilts. I thought about doing that. I had some nice ones, Bob. but I actually I know this sounds terrible, but I'm actually capitalist enough to just want to make money with them on eBay. Plus, I like to know people are wearing them, and I was really appreciative of that girl that bought my class shoes just to let me know she's wearing it. I thought that was very nice of her. I've sold a few Who shirts and some other. I sold some Rolling Stone T-shirts that I wore. But yeah, that was really cool that she showed me that. Hey, I just really wanted this just to wear it. And I'm like, and I try to get my grandkids, and they don't. They're like, no, I don't want any of that stuff. I'm like, you know what? If you don't want it, I'm going to get rid of it. I'm not going to keep it around. So when I eventually die of a coronary, you just take it, throw it all in the Goodwill box. No, I wanted to give this stuff to people who are actually going to use it. So if you're a rock fan out there and you could fit in a T-shirt from 1980, let me know. And you're tiny. You're basically if you're tiny. If you're a rock fan and you're like a woman or you're tiny,
Well,
let me know.
listen, you've got to be
Oh,
gamer small, which is kind of like a real adult large, or when there's no X's involved in anything.
these are. Oh dear God, this is a medium. Gosh,
Holy shit!
one of these is a medium. Okay, there's an XL. That could maybe not still fit me, but still, that's an XL. And this is a large. So I don't know. I
Skin
must have.
tight, man.
Yeah.
You got to put that on. They got to hose you down. And it'll be like what
Maybe,
T-shirt contest?
maybe for the midnight auction, I'll throw that XL on just to see what that might do. We'll see what happens.
Oh,
I
that'd
can
be
barely wear a 3X now. This is a 4X. 4X is very comfortable on me. I can wear 4X. But enough. I'm sorry. Enough about me and my rock T-shirts. What were we
rock
talking about? We
on,
were talking about.
man.
Oh, we were talking about this week in Gamer Stupid. How about this week in Hugo Awards Stupid in
Oh
science
my
fiction Stupid?
god. Yes.
I'm actually very well versed in this, Eric, because I read the story and I went looking up different. I went to the Wikipedia page. I looked up.
Really?
I was very interested in this article, and I went and looked it up, and it was pretty mind blowing what's happening in the science fiction writers of America society now. I don't read a lot of science fiction anymore. I'm more, I don't know, detective, crime, some fantasy, but I don't like a lot of the science fiction out there anymore. And I think the reason I don't like it is something told me that it's all Chinese propaganda, and I just started running as fast as I could. But there's been a bunch of controversy in the last 10, 20 years about the Hugo Awards, which are given at the world, what's called Worldcon. Worldcon's in a different city every year. They put in bids on it, kind of like they do for FIFA does for the World Cup, and they put a bid in it, and they go to a different city across the world every year. Some
Right.
years it's on Australia, it might be in New York, maybe in
Glasgow
England.
was
Like
later on
next
this
year.
year.
Yeah, I believe it's in the UK next year. So it's just whatever. It's the same committee that puts it together, but they draw on people from the actual site itself to help them. And when you're there, you vote on what's called the Hugos. The Hugos used to be a very respected award in science fiction. It's not anymore because there's been all these allegations that basically people that would have been nominated for Hugos in the past, they instead win Dragon Con awards. Dragon Con is the big giant con in
Southeast, right?
yeah, Atlanta every year, and they actually so the Hugo Awards are voted on by like maybe a couple thousand people. The Dragon Con Awards are voted on by about 50, 60,000 people. Matter of fact, I voted the Dragon Con Awards the last 5 or 6 years, which you can do. You just download a ballot. You have a unique email address. You send it in. You do the nominations first, then you vote, and they can't. So I voted the Dragon Con Awards every year they've had them. And that's actually considered a more prestigious award now because more people vote on it.
Really?
And there's considered to be no politics involved because they're just putting it out there saying, look, you guys nominate the people, you vote on it, and we're just going to tally up the votes. And so they give out the Dragon Con Award. I think they've only given it out like 5 or 6 years. The problem with the Hugos is now it's a secret committee, and they you send them in your stuff and they tally it all up behind the scenes and they tell you, hey, here's the nominated stuff. Now you get to vote on it, and then you vote on it. And a lot of people have complained over the last few years because they said, well, a lot of the most popular people are not making the nomination. They're not getting on the specifically. I hate to say it, specifically if you're a white male. A white male
Right.
hasn't won the award in over 10 years, in over a decade. So they wanted to diversify the award. Well, they have no white male wins anything. He goes anymore. it's all it's all POC and females and whatever. You just don't win, and that's kind of known. It's just known now that you're not going to win if you're a white male. So anyway, last year, the city that wins the award to have the Worldcon last year is Chengdu, China, and which is odd because it's odd they would have it there because there's a lot of issues with China in our world right now, and there's a lot of science fiction authors that have huge problems with China. Specifically, people like Neil Gaiman, who did Sandman. Done lots of books. He did Stardust. I mean, he's a well known fantasy and sci-fi writer, and he has said some pretty pointed things about the Chinese government of the last few years. There's also there's a lot of Asian American and Asian Chinese science fiction writers now. There's a whole generation of these new science fiction writers that popped up. And a lot of them are Chinese, and they have moved from China, and they're very critical of China and China's policies. And for those of you too young to remember Tiananmen Square, something that the Chinese government has tried to get wiped off of Google. But by the way, that's not a conspiracy theory. That is an actual thing they've done the last 30 or 40 years, where they
Really?
basically they have guys that go in there and they have go look up Tiananmen Square first of all and see if you can find a number of people that died there. It's very hard to find. And that's one
Really?
reason why print is very important, because print media at the time, if you could find like an old Time magazine from 1989 or whatever, it will have pictures and stuff there. The Chinese government has tried to wipe any mention of Tiananmen Square off the face of Google. Or they put you have to go way down, you have to keep going down, scroll to find anything about Tiananmen Square. So anyway,
No, actually, I will say my first result is Wikipedia. Estimates of the
the
death toll
the
vary from several hundred to several thousand.
the Wikipedia article though gets fought over a lot. They fight over the article a lot
Uh,
because there's people that go in there all the time and try to change it. Then people change it back and change it back. There's all this fighting always going on about the Wikipedia
okay,
article,
BBC is number two, and they say it was in excess of 10,000.
which is considered to be more realistic. But the Chinese government, I think, over the years has downplayed it to be a couple hundred, and so that's I think where the main
And there's no
problem
official
is.
no there's no official death toll. We just took the bodies, rolled rolled them out of the way. Come on.
So anyway, there's a lot of Chinese expatriates that are very critical of the Chinese government. Well, so they ended up having the Worldcon in Chengdu, China, and by all accounts it was an absolute disaster because there was a lot of propaganda going on during the Worldcon by China, because China is
Right.
the host city. There was a ton of propaganda going on. Um, there was allegations they paid people to appear or to say things that they couldn't say stuff. But here's the biggest controversy of all. This just came out in the last few weeks. And so you sent me the Esquire article, Eric, which I'd seen,
Yep.
which I actually have seen. So this has hit mainstream media now. Apparently, within 3 months of the Hugo's being announced, the Hugo Committee is supposed to release the official nominations. Who was nominated, and all the back street stuff. Like, here's all the nominations. Here's this and that. And they usually release it within about 2 or 3 weeks of the Hugo coming out. This year, they didn't release it October, November, December, January. People were getting like, this is weird. They're not releasing anything. The last possible minute they could release something, they released it.
91 days later.
91 days later, the last possible day. And what it showed was four nominees, possible nominees, were declared ineligible, and no reason was given except that all four nominees were critical of the Chinese government. Three were Chinese expatriates, one was Neil Gaiman,
Yep.
who was been very critical. No explanation was given why they were ineligible. So you have two possible explanations that people have been looking at. Number one, they messed up the voting so badly they miscounted ballots, and because of that, they screwed it up so badly, which is hard to believe that you would
I
go.
text,
Very hard to believe that
yeah,
you've
no,
done this for 50 years. I mean, it's the same
yeah.
process over, or that when the Chinese government saw the nominees, they said, you need to take off that one, that one, and that one.
That one. Or there's another likely scenario
Mm-hmm.
where the staff running the process said, "Oh, we don't want to offend our hosts.
Right.
Let's get we'll just drop these four." I
Right.
mean, it's effectively still being censored by the CCP, but the CCP can then go, oh, "We did nothing, not no, we said nothing, no, no,
So
it's nothing, nothing."
so what this has done is this is probably there was a thing called the Sad Puppies that happened in 2016 where a lot of conservative sci-fi writers tried to get themselves on the they tried to get themselves nominated on the board because they said that there wasn't. I mean, because everybody that votes for it, it's people like you and me that vote for it. They said there's not enough people voting that are of conservative bent. They had a case, but they eventually left and they went and did. Like I said, they mostly do Dragon Con stuff now. So this is probably the most significant bad thing to happen to the Hugo Awards in the whole history of the award. Enough
Yeah,
so that I believe the article even said that everybody involved has pretty much been sacked. They pretty much was either resigned or been censored or told we don't need you to work at the next Hugo Awards. I mean, this is a huge controversy because people are jumping to the, what's Occam's razor? Occam's razor says
right,
that the Chinese government told them to take these names off the list, and they
right.
said, yes, sir. How high do you want me to jump, sir? And they went and did what the Chinese government told them to do. And so this has just rocked the sci-fi world. I mean, I went to a few forums and some other sites, and man, people are having knockdown, drag out fights over this enough to where people are getting banned from sites. There's one guy that does a big science fiction blog. He said that everybody involved has unfriended him on Facebook and blocked him because he was asking questions. He was just like, "Look, I need to.
Yeah,
Can you tell me why this
right.
was?" And then just nothing, crickets. They won't say why these were ruled ineligible.
Which is weird too, because the additional thing is for the 2024 awards, that committee has already said if anyone gets declared ineligible or if anyone drops out after being nominated, we are going to give a full explanation as to what's going on.
Because
Without
next year it's in the UK. It's in the UK next year. Yeah, they've
it's
already
in
come out and said, "Yeah, we're not going to do this shit.
it's
We're not
in
going to hide this."
Edinburgh or something like that. It's in one.
Yeah,
It's no Glasgow. It's in
Glasgow.
Glasgow.
Yeah, yeah.
So
Glasgow
now,
or Glasgow? Glasgow.
oh, well, whatever. It's
Somewhere across the pond. It's across the pond.
somewhere in David's area, David
Well, they
Town.
speak weird. Yeah, they speak
Yeah.
like this or whatever.
They
I don't
don't.
know. They speak weird.
They don't speak English. They speak like the
No.
King's vernacular or some shit
So
like that.
they've already come out. Eric's right and said that we are not going to have this happen next year. We are going to be fully transparent about if anybody's declared ineligible because we do not want this cluster F to happen again. And so this has been so I'm reading this and I'm laughing because I didn't think it was I didn't think an organization that's been around even or as long or actually longer than TSR could f up just as bad as WotC did, but they did or worse.
Well,
That might be worse because
uh,
I think the Hugo Award is considered to be one of the premier awards of science fiction,
uh,
and
uh,
to f up that badly is wow.
well, here now there's something that from the article, and I've only read the one article, and I was like, holy shit. To make it a bit more for Mr. Gunn and his anal retentiveness, like this is tangentially gamer related. Do you all remember the year that and then we can do a transition. Our friend, our dear friend Zach Smith gamed the Ennies? Do you remember the year he essentially stuffed the
He
boxes?
but he look. I looked at it this way. He found
Oh yeah,
a flaw and he exploited the flaw. And honestly, I have a hard time. I kind of give those people a little applause because if you find and exploit a flaw like that, I don't think you're cheating. You're not cheating. You're
right. Well,
exploiting a flaw, and they need to shut that. And so, if they don't want that to happen, they need to get rid of that flaw. And I have heard stories, Eric, about lots of people doing what he did. Not just him, but
oh yeah.
lots of companies found that flaw, and they
Here's
were able to exploit it.
Zach is the one that bragged about it. He made no secret of it. But
Right.
how did China get the Hugo Awards? Well, apparently, 2 years prior, because they vote 2 years in advance for each
Uh-huh.
city. 2 years prior, there was a huge number of people signing up for membership from China. Because all you need to do to vote is
You have an
pay
email
your
address, right?
dues. Pay your dues. It's very democratic,
Pay your
you
dues and
know.
have an email address. That's it. Pay your
Right?
dues, have an email address, and they got this
Well,
gigantic flood of people from
it wasn't
China saying,
Mike. It wasn't even an email address. Okay,
"Oh,
from what I read in the article, it's a physical address. You have to send in your ballot. It's a
okay,
physical
I got
ballot.
you."
What happened is when these ballots were sent in,
Oh boy.
almost all of the Chinese ballots were from the same address, same return address with different names, but
Well, same
and with
building.
the same handwriting, but different names. So
Hmm.
when asked by the reporter, wouldn't this flag? They're like, well, they were in China and they probably don't speak English. Now, by the way, these are all books that are written in English, but in any case,
Right.
for the most part, right? Most of this
Yeah.
fiction is being written in English. So, but they're saying these are the people behind the scenes at the Hugos that yeah, we noticed that it was all the same handwriting and we noticed that it was all the same address, but we think that what we wrote could have been translated as not as address, but where is this being sent from? And not so people weren't giving their address, they were giving the address of the one person in the whole country that was mailing these out for them.
Mm.
If you want to talk about double talk and trying to take a square peg into a round hole, that there. But again, it is gaming the system, and they're like, well, but we threw out some ballots, but really, there's nothing. There's just a lot of science fiction fans in China.
Sure.
So
Tons of them.
so many joined in one year because you can't tell me that somebody in China didn't go, hey, do we want to win a Hugo Award? Do we want to control it for a year? We can do that. Just everybody sign up.
Now so there's an author that won the Hugo Award in 2015. I cannot pronounce his name, Liu Cixun or whatever. He won the Hugo in 2015 for his book Three Body Problem, which Netflix has made into a show, which will come out I think this summer. He is a huge. He loves China. He goes on and on. He's in favor of mass interments of Muslims. I mean, he is 100% Team China, and so they love that guy. That guy they let do whatever. And so when they gave him, there's a lot of people that gave when he got the Hugo in 2015. They now regret giving him the Hugo because they didn't
Really?
know how because they thought this is cool, man. This Chinese writer, we're going to give him a Hugo. Nobody in China's ever won a Hugo Award. They were all patting themselves on the back. We're so, we're so amazing that we're giving this guy a Hugo. And then it came out later that he is absolutely 100% pro communism, pro Uyghur Muslim internment camps. I mean, all that stuff. And now they're kind of like, oh, ouch. Pro genocide. He's all pro genocide stuff like that. So, um, anyway, so that yeah, it's been a the science fiction community has had some major stumbles the last 10 years, but this is pretty bad stuff. Like I said, it got a lot of people basically booted out of the walled garden of the Hugo place now. Like and some people got I think some people quit, some people got fired, some people got censored. I don't know what that means. What does it mean when you're censored in the science
We're
fiction
gonna we're
community?
gonna put a letter in your file, and
Yeah.
if you ever want to work for another award company, nonprofit again, your file, which we won't release, will have a letter that told us that we censored you. Okay.
This I mean this is interesting because this is already if you know anything about Disney and how Disney works, that they're about making money. They're not about making kids happy and Mickey Mouse yada yada whatever. That was 50 years ago maybe, but they're about making money now. And so when they make movies now, especially when they make their blockbuster stuff like Marvel superheroes, Star Wars, you notice they will not put gay characters in there. Because that will not sell to the Chinese. The Chinese do not like the government will block the sales of it. If they do have any mention they will have a China version and a rest of the world version. And I'll give you an example. If you saw the last Avengers movie, there's a scene where Steve Rogers goes to a grief. They've had the big thing where Thanos wiped
Right.
out half the humanity. So he goes to like a group where they talk about their feelings about losing people they loved. There's a scene where a guy's talking about losing his husband. A man talked about losing his husband and how that's affected him. That was excised from the Chinese version. Just that small 30-second scene. So he's still talk. He goes to the group and talks. They just don't have that guy's part in there because that will not sell in China. And there's a scene in a Star Wars movie where a female pilot gets out of her ship and goes and runs and hugs another woman, and it's kind of making these are lovers or boyfriend girlfriend. It lasts maybe 15 seconds cut. That is cut for the Chinese version. So they're already having an effect on media. They have a huge effect on media, especially like I said, Disney kowtows to it because they want their movies to make money, and so they will
Yeah.
excise these parts of the movie. Uh, Chinese people or Chinese government, they don't mind violence. They don't like porn. They don't like nude scenes. I mean, there's a lot of things they won't allow in their country if you have these things there. They won't allow anybody saying anything about China. I remember another movie that had this issue was the remake of Red Dawn. If you happen to watch the remake of Red Dawn, which I do not recommend, it's terrible. The bad guys aren't the Russians, the Chinese. They're the North Koreans. Like those idiots
How
could.
they couldn't get a plane to fly out of their country,
No,
probably.
their rockets. They shoot their rockets off and they go. They fall apart in the water. I mean, they're just so bass backwards. But apparently, the writer of the script said the original villains were the Chinese, and that was like, we can't do
Yeah,
that.
you ruin a
Yeah.
market to do that.
North Koreans. Everybody hates North Koreans. Let's just do
You-
North Koreans. But North Koreans doesn't make any sense. How could they invade America? We're not
Don't
going to do the
worry
Chinese.
about it. We got it. We got it. You
We
see what
got it. We got
happened?
it. We're okay. We're okay. We're okay.
Don't worry about
Yes.
it. What happens is Sean Penn, he takes a boat full of North Koreans along with Rod, that basketball player from the Chicago Bulls that went crazy. You know him they and they'll just bring all these people over in their luggage, and then they'll take
Dave,
over.
David has some very good points. And if you want to go down the rabbit hole on YouTube,
Oh,
when
him.
he says, okay, look at the posters. They're hilarious. Look at the
Yep.
American poster versus the Chinese poster. Some of them are absolutely freaking hilarious because they absolutely the Star Wars the Star Wars sequels that just came out a few years ago. They on the posters they erased who's the black actor that played Finn. I can't remember his name.
Oh, I know you're
He's
talking
not.
about.
He's not on the poster. He's not on the poster. They took him off the poster.
Fucking
Because
hilarious.
they don't like black people in their movies and and so
Oh, gee,
they do
sounds
things like that. Yeah, it's
it
pretty
sounds
funny.
like
It's pretty.
pre-World War II Germany.
It's weird. It's
But
weird. So anyway, this was somebody dumber than Watsy. I'm gonna get. I have to give him a. I have to give him a shout out because they did something as dumb or dumber than when Watsy canceled the OGL. This is about as dumb as taking four authors. One as famous as Neil Gaiman, who's really
Oh my
famous.
God,
If you don't know Sandman, you should know at least. Oh gosh, he did American Gods.
Good
He did
Omens.
yeah, Good Omens, Stardust. Yeah, So for some reason, the Sandman show just got ineligible. I don't know why, Eric. It just
Yeah, it's like
oddly.
episode 6. You know what? If you go back, I got a feeling too. Episode 6, lead character was a female black.
Mm,
So it
that
was
was
a
the
double whammy. It was a
oh
double whammy. It's like,
oh
no,
that
we
was the
can't have
episode that
that.
got
Oh,
ineligible. Yeah, yeah. So anyway, cheers to Watsy because they let somebody lap him on the gaming stupid on the gaming stupid race. Cheers to them.
John
They look. We went a
Williams.
whole month. Look, Eric, we've been a whole month into 2024, and we haven't had a gaming stupid from Watsy yet. That is progress. I'm telling you right now. That is absolute progress.
Yeah, but they've got like little minor stupids. You know,
But not like the major stupid of last year, not the OGL cancellation, which was big stupid.
well, we got the now uh, was it Ben? Greg Gillespie is in the room. Greg, don't look at the screen. We might have an affiliate link. Don't touch it.
Oh, we already pimped Dragon Slayer.
Yeah,
But by the way, it looks
we
great. It looks great. One thing I love about Greg's stuff is he spends money on art, and artists that are worried about AI art should give Greg a high five. He spends a lot of money on art, and we're talking original art. He does not do the AI shit, people. He does not save a buck on AI art. He employs a lot of artists. I have my. I was trying to look and see all the artists. Let me tell you. Here's the artist he employed for his Dragon Slayer. I'm going to read some names off here. You might have heard some of these people, Eric. Um, Darlene Diesel, Eric Holtz, Jan Levy, Mustafa Bekir, Craig Brasco, Joey. I can't read it. There's too many. There's like 20 names
cover
here.
cover is a Jeff Easley cover.
Yeah.
And
So I'm just
I don't think
saying
Jeff
is
did
this
that with
is
house paint.
yeah.
I think he did that with
So
real paint.
So this is great. He employs a lot of artists, and that he gets the thumbs up for that. That's really awesome. He is helping the OSR community by doing this, because this is something that OSR artists are very worried about now. Well, about AI art and about its acceptance. I still see people to this day, Eric, going, well, I don't have any money. I can't hire artists, and so I have to use AI for my Kickstarter. I can't not do it, Eric, because I don't have any
Stock art is so
money.
damn cheap. If you can spend a few bucks, because listen, I have spent for my unpublished continual light second print. I spent significant monies on getting that cover art done, and it is beautiful by James Shields. But internal art, I used stock art because it's not a huge book. If I was doing something that was significantly larger and longer, I would have commissioned artwork. But my cover, I spent in total about 1,500 on it, and I think that's
Oh
a
yeah.
bargain for that quality.
So for all the basic expert adventures that I have done with Tom Wilson, we've got a Matthew Ray cover on all of them, which we paid for. I paid for. I paid for out of my own pocket, Eric. I did the one for B 2.5, the one for X 1.5, and the one
Right?
for B 4.5. I paid for those out of my own pocket,
Mhm.
plus back cover. We paid for that, and then most of the interior is stock art. We do we do a front cover, original front cover, original back cover. We do use stock art in the main, but we use James Shield stock art. We use Frog Eye Games stock art. I can't remember some of the other stock art people use, which they get paid for that. This is stuff that they're like, this is from Frog God stock art. We pay for
Right.
it. But I consider that's just part of doing business. Is you have that you. I don't have any money. I'm not rich. If I can afford to do a cover, it's not cheap, Eric. It's like eight hundred
No.
dollars to do a front
Yeah.
back. I mean, it was almost $1,000 to do. Now, one great thing about B4.5, I did get the original art for a 2-page spread, which looks gorgeous. I got that. I think Tom got the cover, which is the cover for B4.5 looks gorgeous too. So we did get that, which is awesome. But this is just something you spend money on. This is nothing different than spending money on a writer, or a cartographer, or a designer. That's just something you have to budget for your. If you can't afford to budget that for your product, then you don't need to be doing a product. I'm absolutely serious. If your Kickstarter can't pay for that, then just give it up, move on, because you have to. These artists, they do work, and they need to be paid for their work.
Right.
It's part of doing business. I realized that going in, that I was, if I wanted to have an original cover for all these books, and Tom's the same way. Tom has original covers for all his stuff, and so we said, yeah, we're going to pay Matthew Ray to do the covers. He does awesome old school art. So I don't buy it when these guys, oh, I can't afford to pay an
You
artist,
can't
man.
afford it. You can't afford it. Sorry,
I can't afford to pay an artist, and I got to use AI art, man, because that's the only way I can afford it. Look, by the time you get an AI, by the time you do the prompts in AI, and from what our friend Alice Peng tells us, by the time you spend another 20, 30 hours adjusting that art to make it look good, you've spent the time. You've
Yeah,
already
you
done
might
the
as
time.
well get it.
Just hire somebody to do original art for you. It takes time to get all that done. If you just use a prompt to get AI art and slap it on something, you're going to end up with guys with 8 fingers and eyeballs are not straight. I mean, it looks. You have to fix your AI art. It doesn't look great right out of the chute. I'm sorry. It doesn't look good out of the chute. You got to fix it up. And by the time you spent the time and effort to fix it, you might as well just hire a professional artist to do it. Do some art.
Yeah, you don't want that five fingers, the
No.
elbow that's bent the wrong direction. Mr. Gunn has an interesting question, which I think we should probably address, but
Okay.
I
All
don't
right.
think you're gonna like my answer. So, what are your thoughts on the impact of no D&D books in brick and mortar gaming stores? Death Knell boost to other RPGs like Pathfinder. First off, let's stop with the no D&D books. Well, actually, Mike, you're saying in brick and mortar there will be physical D&D books. The core books, assuredly. Adventures, there's always a core. The collectors that want to have physical books that aren't playing digitally. But here's the thing: if they no longer are going to be marketing primarily to people that will buy the physical books, it means that not only are stores not going to be seeing many books, but it also, and I don't think anybody else has mentioned this, but I'm going to throw this one out there. It means Adventures League is probably going to transition, what a weird
Mm,
word to say, over to a purely digital version.
right.
All
I
right.
agree with
So,
that. Yeah.
and once you no longer have people playing Adventurers League in gaming stores, there's less need for RPG material there overall. Already, RPGs are the redheaded stepchild of most of these stores, and
Sure.
comic books are like the foster sibling that gets left out in the shed.
Yeah, they don't
But
make any money. Comics are a loss leader at this point.
yeah,
They're making their money off Magic cards, Pokemon, in store gaming events, Warhammer. I mean the old reliables. That's what they're making their money off. They're not
right.
making any money off comic books. They're probably making very little money off RPGs at this point.
RPGs are like you're playing Adventure
Board
League.
games. They make a lot of money off board games still.
Yeah, but I mean, why when you go to your local game store are they trying to sell you soda and chips? Because that pays for your use of their space,
Yeah.
and and you always feel like guilty, so you want to buy another set of dice that you don't need. They are not making money off of tabletop RPG players for the most part.
Okay.
Yes, you like having a
So
comic space, but oh my god, the chat got
we
huge.
got yeah because everybody is banging on me for my opinion about AI art. So I'm gonna say a couple of controversial things, but then also my opinion. I agree with what Gum says is that AI art is the technology of the future will become mainstream. I absolutely agree with that because it's easy to do. It looks you could put all kinds of prompts in there and get exactly what you want. But I'm going to guarantee you're not going to get this. And that's why I think it's for old school, especially. I don't, you know what? I don't care what 5e point 6 8 or whatever and ROTC does. They got hammered for using AI art last year for their product. Remember, Eric? They had their AI art scandal
Oh
already when
yeah.
they used AI
Oh,
art.
wait,
And
they
by
had
the way,
multiple scandals, Mike.
yeah,
They had the Giant scandal. They had the Magic the Gathering advertising
hmm
scandal. So yeah, no, they've stepped it up multiple
so
times.
if you like if you enjoy your favorite artists, then support your artists. I'm not saying that AI art's going to go away. It's not. Matter of fact, it is just only going to get more and more prevalent. And it's an easy way for people to do stuff in the corporate world because they can save money. They don't have to employ a real person. Well, they have to employ a person. They still have to employ the computer guy that has to manipulate the art to make it look good. But they don't have to actually pay an artist. And I don't like that. I'm sorry. I don't like that. I think artists, especially in our hobby, there is a fellowship. I mean, there's something that goes back all the way to the days of Errol Otis and Jeff D and these guys that started out the first wave of guys, the Dave Trampiers, David Sutherland's, and then you got the second wave guys with Jeff Easley and Larry Elmore and Clyde Caldwell and Keith Parkinson, And I just think it's ruinous to their memory to think, oh, I don't mind if I buy my game that's got all AI art in it. I mean, that's one of the unique little niches and cool things about OSR stuff is that we have these guys drawing these pictures. We have these real people drawing real pictures. So I think that I think it's worth. I don't think it's going to go away. Obviously, AI art's not going to go away, but I think it's worth supporting regular artists that doing if they're using a digital pad, if they're using pen and paper, if they're using pencil and paper, pen and ink. I mean, whatever they're using, I
Well,
absolutely think it's worth supporting these people.
we get into these arguments now with AI art because art is at the forefront. But you got to remember where it's going next. It's going next to AI writing.
Absolutely, and we've already seen lots of examples of that because it's that once again it's really easy I've seen examples where people do an AI that they will go to chat and say, hey, chat GPT, and say, hey, I need an adventure, blah blah blah, and they put in the particulars and it boom, it pops one out. Now it's not printable as it pops out, but a little work here and there you can turn it into a workable adventure, and nobody has to know you got your idea from chat GPT or AI or whatever. Nobody knows that this wasn't my original. I had an idea, but really it wrote it all, and I just went back and put periods in the right places, some commas, and took out some stuff that it didn't really talk about right. So yeah, absolutely. I think that you're going to have to look at that too. Look at stuff written by real human beings. It's just what you want to support. If you don't want to support human beings, it's fine. If it's just cheaper, I don't think it's necessarily going to be any cheaper to have AI printed stuff. I'll be honest with you. You know, I,
Mm, it,
well, I'm
you
just
know what?
saying in terms
I,
of why would you okay if I'm using AI to write my stuff, why am I charging less than you? I'm going to charge the same price as you or maybe a little under. I'm not going to let it go for a buck. I'm
well,
still going to
but
charge you.
here, here's the thing. I think once it gets good enough to be nearly good enough, we're going to have a large influx of AI written material in gaming and otherwise. And it's going to be a lot like the D20 explosion with was it FFG, the shovel shit.
Yes, fast forward entertainment or whatever.
Fast
Fast
forward
forward,
FFG, fast
whatever.
forward entertainment, where um, any random thought that the author had while sitting on the shitter or literally jerking themselves off, whatever
Oh,
random thought came into
hey,
their head, they put down and put into a 16-page hardcover book. Now, I was dumb enough to find a bundle of this shit on eBay, and they were asking like $2 a book. And I was like, hey, even if I can only like find like two or three useful, it was worth
uh,
it. I think I paid more in shipping than I did to actually get it. And it came with this nice, beautiful summer day, and I took this huge box to my backyard, and I started opening it up, and I would open it up, and I would open up the book and realize that this hardcover had maybe 32 pages, if that, maybe
yeah.
24, and go, it's all about one fucking magic item that nobody will ever fucking use. It's all. So if you've ever used Chat GPT or some other writing AI material, I've had to say, hey, make me some. It knows certain systems, kind of, sort of. It seems to know 5e. It thinks it knows Shadow Dark, but it probably doesn't. It knows swords and wizardry, but um, if you tell it to write magic items, you get magic items that are so generic, and if you do it enough, there's a repetition. It's got a very limited amount of source material it's working with. So literally having a thought as you're passing a bowel movement is more likely to give you something that is useful. Now, in the future, it's going to get scary because it's going to have a much larger catalog where it's pulling from. It's what it does, essentially. And it's going to put together stuff that is more useful, more viable. But I've played with it and went, wow, 13-year-old me was thinking up better magic items than this shit.
So
Honestly,
look, it's a crutch that gamers can or that writers gamers can use right now. It'll probably get better. You have to do a lot of massaging. I know people that have used it for their work. They basically say, look, I don't want to write copy for this. I'm just going to plug it all in and see what it pops up with, and it pops out with something passable. It looks like something actually passable, but you got to massage it a little bit. You can't. There's some pretty funny stuff out there that people just printed AI as is and didn't massage the material, either writing or
Right.
artwork. You've got to massage the writing a little bit, otherwise it's unintentionally hilarious. Some of the stuff it comes up with, or some of the phrase it uses. I just look at the whole thing about OSR. It's built in there, old school Renaissance. This is something you want it to mimic or ape the product as much as possible, the original product. And I think you do that by actually having a human write it and actually having a human do the artwork. Now, yeah, I could be wrong, but I think that to me,
It
that's what
depends on
I
the
think when I
human,
think of
maybe.
OSR. When I say the OSR, that's what and Eric is right. The fast forward entertainment stuff was hilarious because it's it's not just that, Eric. Some of that die 20 stuff, yikes.
Oh
That
yeah,
that was
no, that
that was
whole
just
it was
wow.
shovelware. If you remember, like when software was shovelware, when everybody was just making bank on putting out a really shitty program that was a copy of somebody else's really shitty
Yeah.
program. Well, that was fast forward entertainment. Thraxis has an interesting point, and it's valid. As a hobbyist, using AI has helped me greatly to create RPG material for my own game. If I was doing commercial work, I'd get an artist, but that's where a lot of the money for the product would go. Exactly. If I'm running an adventure for use with my gaming group, and I want a certain scene, it's good. Close enough is close enough, right? You just do it in AI. It's not. But if I was going to publish something, I might say to my and using that, I go, "Hey, I'm not an artist, but use this for inspiration and get me something that's like better than this AI art."
Is it just though? Is it just saving you time because it's not writing better than you could write? I
No,
mean,
well, he's talking about using for
I
art,
have yet
for
to see a
visual.
Chat GPT. Oh, you mean art? Okay, the
He's
artwork. I see.
talking about art.
Like if you
Yeah,
want like a okay here, I want my bad guy to look like this, and I don't want to
yeah,
jack with it. So just give me a guy with a horned helmet and he's got fiery eyes and boom. Then you got okay, there we go. I can show my players this and say this is your bad guy. I get that. The writing stuff is what gets me because I just don't understand except for saving time, how much better it's gonna how much it's gonna help you. I mean, cause you're gonna be able to think of better, more interesting adventures. I mean, look, there's already how many adventures out there in the world you can crib from? I mean, hundreds, thousands. There's already thousands of bits of published material from 1974 to 2024. So I don't understand why you would need AI writing. There's so much stuff still out there. I mean, if you feel like the need for inspiration, take a classic D&D module and read and write it in your own words. Take I Won the Forbidden City, which is a great idea. This giant lost city, just rewrite it in your own words. Or, redo your look. The Forbidden City, there's only maybe 10% of that described. There's all these buildings. There's all these things. There's sewers that run underneath. They don't even describe. Just do that. You don't need Chat GP to figure out something for you. Take something and read and just write it in your own words or redo it. I just don't. Like I said, unless you're
well,
saving time, unless you want to
well,
save time, I guess.
I could see using it to generate ideas. Give me a list of whatever, and then you go through it. It's almost like a random table generator, and then you pull from it, and then you flesh it out and make it your own. Now, the whole idea of copywriting AI art, um, I think, or even AI writing, I think if you had AI generate something and then you rewrote it, I think that it's copyrightable. But your original
Mm-hmm.
AI spit out shit is not. The question becomes: is AI art that has now been manipulated by the programmer slash artist to be significantly different from the original? Is that copyrightable? And I am not an attorney, even though I
Uh
currently
oh.
employ a law firm. So I could not tell you.
Maybe Ty knows. I don't know if that's Ty's area of expertise though. So he may know something about that. But yeah, you know what, that's another mess. I wouldn't even want to mess with that. I just look. I just would write it myself. I mean the artwork, like I said, I have a guy. I'm always finding guys that want to draw stuff. I have a guy now that drew some stuff for B4.5. Nice guy. He tried to start his own comic book a few years ago. Didn't really work out. He loves fantasy art. Loves Conan. And I said, hey, can you do some pieces? He did some pieces for B4.5. Did some pieces for Independent Publishers Union. He charges very reasonable rates. He's just a guy that likes to draw, and he wants to see his stuff in adventure modules. I'd much rather give money to that guy and just say, look, this is money that's helping him buy groceries.
Yeah,
Then
fair enough. And isn't that part of this, right? I mean, I understand that part on one level is, hey, if I can do it on the cheap, so much the better. But you know what? The part of what is exciting about the OSR, particularly, but RPGs in general, is that this is usually a team effort in getting something
right.
done. Writer, artist, layout, editor, maybe a cartographer, and I think that is something that's very special. Because if you're writing a book, it's just the author, and then the
Sure.
editor comes in and you know they a lot of times the cover art is something that they've already commissioned for something else that got canceled. They already have it, and it's close enough. It fits. But RPG material is something that hits so many different creative aspects. It literally is. There are one man, one woman entities out there that can do all this themselves, but most are not. Like most of them are not Courtney, who can do his own artwork and do his own writing and his layout and editing. Most of it is teamwork, and I think that's
Hmm.
teamwork makes it all work. Or some I
But
don't know what
oh,
the saying is.
so by the way, while we're rolling around here and we're boring people about talking Chat GPT because apparently they hear about it too much. Apparently Bruce hears about it too much. What is the? Do we have any blowback from the Dungeon Gate? So I know you made a bunch of videos about this. Is there any blowback on this? Any, you know, I haven't seen it talked about anywhere really. I know that
Well,
N World and those kind of places are staying away from it. They don't want to touch it with a 10-foot pole.
which is
Um,
interesting, right? And
yeah,
I'm gonna make my argument for this one right now. It's I know places like Nworld and Reddit, and I'm sure other social media sites and communities have. We know Reddit has the no Zach Smith policy, which has gone on to conclude no Alex Macris
certain
discussion.
people. So in their words, certain people are so controversial to talk about that we're just not even going to talk about them, hate on them, love on them, and you cannot bring up their names. Period.
Right.
And yeah, I know that Zach is there, Alex
So
Metris is there. There's a couple people because immediately, as soon as you mention people's names, it gets to a fist fight online.
right.
So they
So
they don't want to deal with it.
I think on Reddit that it even like has it so it's like self censoring in these communities that if you have Zach S or Zach Smith or probably even Zach with a ZAK, your post gets denied. You can't put it up.
Oh
So
boy.
I believe that's the excuse that they're going on for not discussing the article. Now, I have spoken with a number of people. There are many theories as to the who, what, where, when, why. But I would say most likely Dr. Cleo's interviews are legit. No, we've already seen it that nobody's denying that they got caught on tape. Everybody's like, "How dare she share this shit?"
Yeah.
And they're not saying
Oh,
I didn't.
she had a one party or two party state. That's all they talk about. They're
Yeah,
not worried about if they said it or
this
not. They're just
this
worried
this is a
is it
felony.
real?
It happened across state lines. It's not how it works.
No, it
It's
is not,
not how
folks.
it works. But here's the thing. And again, nobody, anybody who knows isn't talking. So a lot of this is Occam's razor. What's most likely?
Right.
What's most likely is that the doc started writing this material, and she may have gone in it with one idea in her head, and then as her 4-year investigation project went on, she started getting. She was surprised. She went into it going to talk with her own community. She happens to
Mm-hmm.
self-identify as a lesbian, and she went and a progressive, and she
Very
went and
progressive, yeah.
interviewed other progressives and others in the LGBTQ plus community, and she figured that she was going to get nice people, and she found a bunch of assholes. I
Miserable
think
human beings, yeah.
the Brits would use a word that begins with a P.
Shocking. Yeah,
Yeah,
shocking,
shocking.
shocking. Mm.
I am so shocked.
There's a lot of
Now,
miserable people. Unfortunately,
if
there are miserable people in our industry.
if you
Yes.
read the article, which was posted and removed, I believe, on the same day, you will see a change in the narrative voice about a third in. And that change is when it changes from talking about the bad people to the redemption of Zach Smith, the second coming of Zach, we'll call it. There is a change in the narrative voice. So the theory is, amongst many of us, is that there were two writers involved in this posting. That the one author is pretty much the doctor. That's the first third, 40% or so, and then the second author is an unknown individual who had access to her article and access to her logins, and or at least access to a computer that had her login saved on it, and posted this. That would also mean that they had access to the sound file. So there's a lot of access
Ooh.
that's required. However, um, right from the beginning, there was talk that there was this unknown second author. I am not going to speculate as to who that author is. I don't
Yeah, we don't
know.
know. No clue.
We don't know. There's a number of theories. And you can pick one out of your hat. But the fact remains is that the audio clips are legit. Dr. Cleo Weissman, or whatever her last name was,
Hmm.
is legit. She has her degree. She's taught.
She's a real human being.
She's a
Yes.
real human being.
She's
Um,
not denied. She's not denied she wrote this at all.
no,
She hasn't come out and said any kind. She kind of denies this.
she's not saying anything. Now, there's another. Now the question is, why was it taken down so quickly? One theory is that once she found out it was posted, she demanded it be taken down by the person who posted it. And the other theory is that and this is you go with this one if you believe it was all her. She put it up and immediately got hit with legal threats from people that
Mm.
had their voices heard, and or just threats from an angry section of the community. One thing that she mentioned at the beginning of the article is that she was diagnosed with cancer. She doesn't say what kind, she doesn't say what stage, she doesn't say how her health is doing. So then this is this is where we get into the strange theory. The stranger theory is
Hmm.
she could be on her, and no confirmation on this, folks. This is, but
Once
she
again,
could.
yeah, it's speculation.
It's that she could be uh, in failing health and is of the mindset of I'm going to burn the world down and take out these bad actors that betrayed the community or betrayed our progressive ideals. I don't know. Oh, okay. Um, it is so honestly, it's a bizarre article for how it presents itself and what it attempts to do. With again,
Well,
I'll repeat
I
it.
think
No,
I'm sorry. Well, I was going to
no,
say
go ahead.
I mean, that there's no doubt. Look, there is zero doubt at this point because these people do not deny it. There is zero doubt these people tried to take down Lamentations. They tried to take down James Raggy. They tried to take down Zach Smith, and
Yep.
this is absolutely without question at this point because nobody's denying these things didn't happen. There's no denials popping up on Reddit or Facebook or whatever blog space saying, "Man, this is total BS. I never said this. I never did this." There's no denials about it because the audio files exist where they basically say, "Yeah, we plotted to destroy Zach Smith. We plotted to destroy James Raggy." So that part is really under question. There's a lot of questions associated with it, though.
Yes.
You know that we can't answer. I mean, I don't know. I don't have inside information. Nobody I know has any inside information about this, so we don't know. But th- th- this this brought out in the open something that had been talked about behind the scenes for probably the last 5 years. People have been talking about this for the last 5 years, going, man, isn't it weird how everybody just kind of dogpiled this person, and suddenly all these people came out and said this is the most miserable human alive, and this guy's terrible, and there really wasn't a lot of proof, and they did this. So
And they
this
used to
just
love him.
codifies what.
He was their leader and
Yeah,
hero for
this is
things.
weird. Everybody used to like Zach, or they used to pretend like they liked Zach. No, then like a step of fingers, they all turned against him and wanted to burn him down. That's just weird, and it doesn't make any sense. And then this makes it make sense when you start
Yeah.
realizing, oh, this is a concentrated effort to basically destroy these people. So nobody's saying that that's not true, but everything else associated with is real weird and just it doesn't make sense. A lot of it. It's odd. It's very odd.
Yeah, no, it is strange. And um James Desborough. I hope I'm getting. I always say Desborough, but it might be Desborough. James, if I'm screwing up your name, I'll have to watch phonetically how you pronounce it one time. But James has done some great coverage on it. But he was targeted by these people too. Uh,
Oh
and
yeah, definitely. Grim Jim
and
definitely was. Yeah.
yeah, and you're looking at this, and none of these people are, or anyone that you would consider to be conservative, let alone alt right. But the thing is, they are all people that you're not
Yeah,
going
none
to
of them, none of
support.
them are. None of them are
No,
all right. Grim Jim is
no,
Grim Jim's a communist. He says he's a commie. He's a commie. These guys are not all right people. So this is just it was interesting in that, and that was the interesting aspect of it. These people politically their views are quite towards the left, and so that was very interesting how
well,
that part of it.
my thoughts are, and I think they addressed this in one of the interviews, is that it was less about politics, it was more about power. And the threat to bankrupt Lamentations of the Flame Princess and buy the estate. And Rach points out, when you start talking estate, you're talking about, that's not bankruptcy, you're talking about
Hmm.
somebody passing. Um, that is about power and influence, that they wanted control. James says in his video that they told him what he had to do to be left alone. Flat out. You have you it's not enough to disassociate yourself from Zach. Not enough to stop doing business with him. You must condemn him.
Yes.
And I am a Zach apologist, because I have always said it. He's not a criminal, never been proven in a criminal court, never been charged in a criminal court. So to say that he is any of the above is a flat out inaccurate statement, if not just a lie. And
Yeah.
you're never going to see me saying that. But because I wouldn't say it,
I mean,
I'm an apologist.
Zach has already drop kicked a couple of people who went
Yeah.
way out on a limb, way out on a limb, and said terrible things about him, and that weren't true, and that that's look when I mean, there's a difference between when Eric and I say something's a rumor or we're speculating to out and out calling somebody a rapist or just something a Nazi or whatever. There's a gigantic you know spread between that between just saying
Yeah.
my opinion, I don't like this person because blah blah, and just saying outright this person did these crimes or did this, and you
Right.
have no proof. And that's the way the industry was leaning for a while. It was a lot of accusations with zero proof, and nobody was pushing back on it. Now I will say that once people started pushing back on it, not just Zach but other people, it kind of retreated back into the okay, we won't say anything anymore. I mean, there's people who were speculating about somebody that we knew, and that person threatened lawsuits, and suddenly all the speculation disappeared because it was very nasty speculation. It wasn't
And it
it
was
wasn't
baseless.
Yeah, it was
Yeah,
absolutely baseless. It was 100%.
absolutely.
It was 100% made up. It was 100% made up. And so once it started veering into the 100% made up, and then you start saying, yeah, maybe I should get a lawyer here because this is really ruining my reputation. Then all of a sudden, those people disappeared. Oh, well, I was just repeating what this person said. Then that person,
Well, but that's in
and
the interviews too. There, and I can't,
yeah,
don't ask me who it was, but one like, well, I mean, first off, uh, he, meaning Zach, expected you to actually, um, before you actually like join the mob, to actually do your own research and find the truth. I mean, how dare he? I mean, yeah, you should, but how dare? I can't put that much effort into it. I just need to hate monger because I mean, it's
a
so
lot of it
fucking
was
mind blowing.
look, a lot of it was waving the flag of political persuasion. Like, look, it's right now. It's hot to hate this person, or it gets you kudos in the industry if you don't like this person, and if you say
Yep.
bad things about them online. And look, that's not endemic just to gaming. There's a lot of industries that happens at. Like, look, you have to hate this guy because if you don't hate this guy, you're not going to do any. Look, we just talked about science fiction. It was very much like that. You got to hate these people, this person, this person, this person. If you don't, you're never going to win an award. You're never going to do anything. This, comics, movies, a lot of this, it just goes on everywhere. Where you
Yeah.
have to. That's why it's really interesting. I mean, all politics aside, which it's hard to do politics aside, but that's why when you see most Hollywood actors that are outspoken, most of the time they're of the liberal persuasion because that's seen as a virtue in Hollywood. Every once in a while, you have more of a conservative guy, and usually they're either quiet and you find out about it, like, oh, I didn't know that person was,
Or they're
that
blacklisted.
way, or they're blacklisted and you never see him again. Like Michael Moriarty, who was very famously came out towards the end of his career and like, look, I'm actually very conservative, and then all of a sudden, no more jobs. He didn't get, after I think the last thing he was in was Law and Order, and after that, that was it. He was never hired for anything again. So, and I think for a while, the great thing about gaming is it can, gaming should be, it should have a gigantic umbrella. You should
Yes.
be able to be anything because when you sit down, once again, when you sit down at the table and you're playing chariots, you shouldn't bother you with the guy across the table from you who's running a chariot, what his politics are. That should not come into your chariot game. And there's no reason it would or it should. And then that's all, that's what I look at. That's what I think is great about gaming is there's so much room for so many people under this gigantic umbrella. And I think that there's certain people that have tried to partition off gaming, but it has never worked. It's not worked. And especially when they try to partition off the OSR and say, well, the OSR is just this or the OSR is just that. It's not. It's a lot of things.
Yeah. And the thing is too is when they try to, the partitioning is all about control. That's really what it comes down to. It's about
Yeah.
control. It's about gatekeeping, which is why I've heard the arguments back and forth that we should gatekeep the OSR to keep Zach wanted to gatekeep. I mean, look what a great job that worked out. I mean, gatekeeping is not what you want. You gatekeep in your individual groups, but the larger community should be the ties that bind us. The common interest should be what we're talking about. That's why I always say when we're gaming, we shouldn't be talking politics. Not unless you know everybody at the table has the same politics. You don't bring it up because it's not necessary for the game at hand. And by the way, I'm going to address a comment that was made on Facebook by someone. I at first I said they must be trolling. Then I went, or they're just an asshole. Um, they're like, well, after that article that you shared, you owe Zach an apology for calling him an asshole.
I saw that. Yeah, that was funny.
And I was just like, well, no, my opinion doesn't change him. Doesn't make him being an asshole is not a criminal offense.
Right.
at all.
And
It has nothing to do with the other.
talent and personality are two different things too. Talent and
Right.
personality are absolutely two things. I mean, I said this before. I love Picasso's art. I mean, I think genius art, but he's a miserable. Read a history about him. He was a wife beater, a woman beater. He's a miserable human being. Absolutely miserable. Talented, extremely.
Right.
I think extremely talented. I think Picasso stuff's amazing, but extremely miserable human being. You never invite him to dinner. You don't want him to come to dinner and slap your wife across the face because she served the beans too cold or something. But that's yeah that's two different things. Talent and personality are different things.
Yeah. So I mean, you can be an
You don't have to like. You
asshole.
don't have to
Not
like every.
funny.
You don't. At least
No.
you don't have to like everybody to play games with them or use their game. I mean, look, I don't do deep dives into when I'm running a. Let's say I pick up an old issue of Dungeon Magazine. I want to run an adventure. I don't run a deep dive on the author's politics or anything from
No.
19. Like, oh, I'm gonna go. Let me see here. Yeah, I'm gonna pull this Dungeon Magazine out here. He said because he knows. Oh, look, I've got this Dungeon Magazine from what date is this? Um, August 2000. I'm gonna pull. I want to run an adventure here. Oh, wait a second. I don't know if evil watches with many eyes. I'm not sure about the politics. The guy that wrote it. I better do a deep dive here. And no, no, no. You're not gonna do that. You just don't worry about that shit. You know, uh, just go and then go. Oh, at this one point in the adventure, he has these beholders doing this. I wonder if that means he might be a Nazi
Oh.
because
Oh.
because the
Well,
beholder, yeah,
what I
no,
love this is the common method, by the way. I've heard that Tenkar is Nazi adjacent. So in other words, you're separating yourself from the accusation. I heard. I'm not accusing this. I heard that he. No, no. This is coming out of you. You heard it because this is the circle of rumors that people start, and then you get the excuses. Well, I heard it, and it must be true because I heard it. Trust me. We're safe and effective, just like everybody else. Um, S. Lewis, if you don't like a person, you don't have to support their work. It's that simple. Exactly. Or in some cases, you might not like the person, and you can still say, like I do, Red and Pleasant Land, one of the top 5 adventures ever, maybe RPG works ever, and Zach is still an asshole. It doesn't change the fact that he's an asshole, and it doesn't change the quality of the work. I can separate
look,
an
and Zach is under no obligation to not be somebody we
asshole.
don't like. He's not under any obligation to be likable or happy or friendly to us. I mean, he could just continue to not like us. I mean, that he's under no obligation to do that. I think, and that's what drives me crazy about a lot of these people that Doctor Cleo talks about because they're very open about the fact that not only do I not like this guy, but I want everybody else to not like him too.
Yep.
And I'm gonna make up stories about him to make him more unlikable, so you definitely won't like him. And if the issue of the day is I don't know heroin using, I'm gonna say that I'm gonna insinuate they're a heroin user because I know that's gonna really piss you off, even though I know that's not true. Absolutely know it's not true. Just gonna
Well,
make
that,
up. Just
that was one of my favorite ones. And folks, you should really listen to the audio because, and listen, and people are going to say, and I don't doubt it. Well, the audio, it's edited to stop and begin. Yeah, I'm not saying it isn't, but the clips are great. Like when Olivia Hill is asked about the threats that Zach supposedly made against Hill's children, and he'll go, well, he never actually made those threats. Oh, well, then what the fuck? You know? But here's the thing these people are talking to the doctor as if she is a therapist and or a close friend because
sure.
she's in that circle. So they're bragging. They aren't confessing. They are
That's
bragging.
what's so weird about it is that they think this is going to be some kind of puff piece about how to harass people, and so they thought it was going to be a puff piece, and so they go, yeah, let's go ahead and just give it up. We'll just give it up to her. We'll tell her what we've been doing all these years. That's the weirdest part to me about listening to the
Yeah.
audio.
Greg, I've never run Pleasant Land for our group. I call bullshit on you.
You don't have to run it
I don't have to
to
run it
like
to
it or not like it.
appreciate it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's okay. It's
Yeah.
okay, Greg. If I said, well, Ambition and Avarice is one of the top 5 RPGs ever, but I've never run it, so how would I know? Well, then you lost your bragging rights, dude. I'm sorry, man.
I've never run Shadow Dark Sun, and I think it's great. But maybe I
Yeah.
should not say that because I haven't run it yet. So I
Uh
don't know.
oh.
Boy, I better.
Shadow Dark.
Yeah,
Shadow
Shadow Dark might. Yeah, I don't know if I can play
and
Shadow
by the
Dark
way,
or
folks,
read it.
Shadow Dark is for what you're getting. It's an inexpensive hardcover on drive through, and it is laid out for a 56-year-old old man eyes to pleasantly read. Oh my God, you don't know how much I appreciate being able to look at something.
And let me tell you, I do not, we do not get compensated. Greg doesn't give us anything for this, but I'm just gonna tell
No,
you, I am not a huge Dark Sun fan. I fell in love with Shadow Sun or Dark Shadow or whatever the fuck it is.
Shadow Sun, Dark, even
I
Dark
thought it was.
Shadow.
I actually wanted to play a campaign in that world because it sounded really interesting. Whereas I remember reading through Dark Sun and just going, "This is ridiculous." You start your characters out at third level. You're this. You're a
Yeah.
half giant. No, I'm not playing this dumb game. And I remember just totally dissing it. Like I'm not playing this. But I read Greg's version. It was really good. And I like I said, I don't like the original Dark Sun at all, but I like this. This is a little grittier to me. Even though Dark Sun's pretty gritty, this is, to me was even grittier, and I enjoyed it.
Well, see, Dark Sun
If you don't
didn't.
run,
Well, the original Dark Sun didn't know what it wanted to do. It's like, okay, we're going to give you adventures as flip books. Oh no, 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 no! Maybe those. Oh shit! Those cardboard boxes
were
don't survive at
terrible.
all.
Oh, those boxes were awful, and they would fall apart after you open them, and they just disintegrate
Yeah,
after that. And plus the adventures were very
railroady
railroady. Oh, very railroady. A to B to C to D, and
because it's a flip
you know,
book. You can't. You got to stay in
yeah.
order. You can't. It's
They
hard
weren't
to go around it.
sandboxy at all. They would kind of be squeamish, like, okay, we're gonna talk about slavery, but we're not gonna really
Yeah,
go into why it's so bad. We're not gonna have really horrible slavers. They're just generic bad guys that happen to be slavers. And yeah, there was a lot of things they just never figured out what they really were in Dark Sun. The setting was interesting, very
yeah.
interesting setting, but the whole gameplay didn't make any sense. And so I think yeah, I think Shadow Sun does a really good job of making it a very playable world. So
The one thing that I occasionally use from Dark Sun was a stable of characters when you could have 3 different PCs to choose from, which wasn't new. That was already used in oh god, it's a game that Greg loves, and I can't remember. White. It was
TCC.
the White Wolf people before they started doing.
Oh,
It was about having god, your medieval adventuring party with a coven of like witches or shit. But
what the hell?
I can't remember the name of it. I had got material for it too.
Mm-hmm.
But I think Greg did a rip on that one too. I was talking about doing it.
He rips off everybody apparently. Wow.
He doesn't rip them off. He just improves upon it. That's what it is. Art
No,
magic.
but it
Thank you. There we
Ars
go.
Magic,
Thank you.
yeah. But anyway, it was anyway. It's a look. Go to drive through. You will not be disappointed. Go ahead and get Shadow Sun. It's really good. And by the way, Shadow people are getting their Shadow Dark. I saw a couple interviews with Kelsey. Um, it, I would love, God, I'd love to have her on the show next couple months. I'm going to see if I can get a hold of her. I have not wanted to bother her for the last few months because she even states in the last interview I saw with her, she had to answer upwards of 1,000 emails in the last 6 months because people just, just
Oh yeah.
so because she's so hands on with this project. It's a very hands on project, and she is just. It's. I'm really happy about all the good stuff that happened, and I love my look. I love my copy. I have it right here by the desk. I flip through it all the time for ideas, and I love the way I can read. I can read it. It's not tiny, Eric. It's
I
big
know.
letters. I
Oh,
love
hold
reading it.
on, Dave. It is Shadow Sun. It is a setting material for Shadow Dark.
Oh,
So
yes,
it is for
Shadow
use
Sun.
with Shadow Dark, and uh, uh, it is for use with Shadow Dark, and. Uh, it is for use with Shadow Dark, and. Uh, it is for use with Shadow Dark, and. Uh, it is for use with Shadow Dark, and. Um, uh, it, the, uh, it is for use with Shadow Dark, and. Uh, it is for use with Shadow Dark, and. Uh, it, the It is Lord
I
Trent.
can read it from here almost, Eric.
Yeah,
Oh
I
my
know.
gosh, it's great.
So, and
Yeah.
it's near me. It's near my workstation. It's got to be good. If I can reach it without getting out of my chair, you know, Greg did some good
I
work.
I would run a I would run a campaign there if I wasn't already running World Deep. I would run a Shadowstone campaign because I think it's a cool setting. So,
Catching up here on.
but since Greg didn't pay us for this advertisement, you do what you want to do personally. You know,
Good night, Bruce.
yes, yeah, Greg needs to. We need some kickbacks here, buddy. Come on.
Oh, that's right. I noticed that the other day when I went to check it out that there's no. He's waiting on a new hardback proof for Shadow Sun.
Oh,
Right now, it's
very
only in
cool.
PDF. It is well worth
Well,
the
since
investment.
WotC will never publish Dark Sun again, this is the closest we're ever going to get, folks. Because
Yeah.
WotC's already said that they will not do anything with slavers or slavery or
Yep.
even make slavers the bad guys that you
Well,
kill
they always
because they're so
are.
miserable because you kill them. No, we don't even want to. We're a little squeamish. We just want to make it generic bad guys, because we don't want. We're just too squeamish to even include that. What?
It's like it's
They're
like
bad guys. They're terrible
yeah.
guys.
It's like a game dealing with World War II, where
Oh dear. Oh
the
dear.
Germans no longer have swastikas; they have crosses, black crosses, a white
You know,
circle and red because you can't
there's a
show it.
movie that did that recently. It's a zombie World War II movie that I liked everything except for that part. I started rolling my eyes so much I couldn't deal with the whole rest of the movie. I can't remember the movie's name, but it's a zombie movie taking place in World War II. None of the Germans wear swastikas because I guess they were so squeamish about.
Yes.
Well, they're bad guys, but we can't make them really, really bad. That's just not right. So they had, yeah, it just took me out of the situation totally. I'm like, yeah, I don't dig this.
Oh,
I mean, make them bad guys. Make them bad guys. They're bad, man.
Greg's next project is Shadow Rim.
Oh, I love Skyrim, dude. My favorite game of all time.
Yeah, we're gonna start playtesting this soon, Mike.
Oh, love me some Skyrim, baby. Matter of fact, I played my first Skyrim game in 5 years. Just I started late last year. My grandson and I were just talking about all the great. So when he was a little kid, probably about four, no, younger than 14, he was playing it, and I kind of sat down and started messing with it with him, and we both became huge Skyrim fans. And then I haven't played it for about 5 years, and I went ahead and bought it and reloaded it and ran a whole campaign. I think my character's 80th level or something. And I'd forgotten how much I love that whole world, love the whole setting. I mean, it's amazing, and it still stands up after 10 years. I mean, the graphics aren't the best, but the plot lines and everything still stand
Right.
up after 10 years. So yeah, the setting is amazing. Skyrim setting is amazing. So I'm really interested to see what he's going to do with that. That Shadow Rim sounds really cool.
There you go.
And it also
Wow.
sounds like something I would, that you would go to. Well, never mind. I'm not going to say what I was going to say. Never mind. I'm going to avoid that because I'm just going to avoid it because we had such a good time tonight. There's no reason to
Oh,
get you,
oh.
you know,
Wait, was it me worked up or the audience?
to get this site banned from people. Like he talked about that. That's disgusting. What he said about Shadow Rim. That's awful. So no, we're not going to do that. No, no, not at all. Just go play some Shadow Sun. And
Alrighty then.
go get yourself some Dragon Slayer too while you're there. Go get a little
Oh,
piece of that Dragon Slayer. Get a little bit of that. It looks great. Like I said, it looks awesome. I love seeing all the original artwork and all the. Once again a game that I can read without having to squint because I don't like small typeface. Damn it. By the way, so when I read books now, Eric, I have to read hardbacks. I have this gigantic collection of pulp fiction. Most of it's paperback.
uh
I don't
huh.
know why I collected Eric. I was going to read it when my retirement old age. I can't see it anymore. It's too tiny. I'm reading hardbacks now because that's all I can see. So I don't know what I'm going to do with all these paperbacks I have. I have no clue. It's too tiny. Too tiny.
Wow. Okay. So Greg is it. Uh, Oh, I can share. I was about to say, can I share this? And now he told me I can share this.
Oh,
Hold on.
a sneak peek to share. Okay. Is this him shadow rimming somebody, or is this some? Oh wait, never mind. Did I say that out loud? Is this one of the skill trees for?
I guess so. Yeah, the coin, the dragon. Learn the
Oh,
wall of flame spell. +2 to
very
wisdom.
cool. Very cool.
Oh
Yes,
wow.
because
Okay.
is this for Shadow Rim? Because that's what I like. That they have a very cool skill trees for all of your abilities. It's kind of cool. So
When
this
gaining a
is
level,
interesting.
including the first, roll 2d6 and
Yeah,
gain
there
the
you go.
associated talent.
Very cool, man. Because that's one thing that's I like about Skyrim is you can work up your you can play Skyrim 100 times and have a different character every time because you depend on what skills you want to. If you want to do speech skills, you can do magic skills, you can do fighting skills, you can do sneaking skills, all kinds of skills you can do, which is awesome.
The star signs are the equivalent of class choices.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you're kind of
Mm.
classless. I mean, you can be a fighter that can also cast spells. You can be a thief that, you know, that does archer, or you could be a thief that backs. I mean, there's all yeah. It's an infinitely adjustable, which I the one thing I love about Skyrim is you can do pretty much anything you want, any kind of character you want. It's very easy to do because there's no class restrictions there, so it's kind of cool. But yeah, I'll definitely take a look at that when that's done because that looks very cool.
Yeah, no, this is going to be cool. All right.
But by the
I'm
way, actually, I
officially.
was gonna say I actually need to talk to Greg sometime. Greg, we need to talk offline because um, I need to find out how easy it is to convert 5e to Shadow Dark. And it's not me that wants to know; it's somebody above me. So, in somebody wants to know. So, and I know you would know this. We need to talk sometime.
Yeah, so
I think. You know,
your bad mic
yeah,
on
we talked
Discord.
before. We talked about
Oh,
before on
okay. Oh, we got the
Facebook.
other contact.
I just try to remind myself now that he's here in the chat that
Okay.
somebody asked me Zach Glazer asked me about converting 5e to Shadow Dark, and I said it could easily be done. My friend Greg does it, and so may have to talk to him because I think Frog Guy might want to do some Shadow Dark stuff, Eric, which would be awesome.
Ooh, that would be
So
awesome.
yeah, and if we could convert existing 5e material to Shadow Dark, which I assume would be easy to do, then that would be even better. So
Oh, that's a built-in market. Wow. Okay. Yeah. Well, you heard it here first, folks. Unofficially
I don't
official.
know. Hey, I shouldn't.
Well,
Whoa!
officially unofficial. Officially
Thank goodness.
unofficial.
Oh, good. No Glazers are listening, so they'll never know. They'll never see this. Good deal.
Oh yeah, because now we talked about it. Kind of. What do
No.
I win? So we know.
Yeah, there's no drawing, so Jen's not here. So I think next week we're supposed to have Ron Meisker on of Philadelphia Page Convention. If not, in the next few weeks, there's a lot of stuff coming out. I'd love to get James on the show to talk about his Kickstarter. I'd love to get Lou on to talk about his Kickstarter. I'd love to get Matt Fitz on board to talk about his thing. So we have. I'm gonna be burning up the phone lines next week. So
Okay.
I want to get some of these people on to talk about their projects because that's what we do. That's what we like to do. We like to talk about projects.
Well,
We
yeah.
like we, we like
Hopefully,
to we like to push projects that we like. We don't push projects we don't like.
yeah. And if we can, hopefully, there's an announcement we can make about Paige next week. But we'll see.
Oh yes. Oh,
I don't
hopefully
know.
there
If
is.
I don't know if
Oh.
it's I want to save that for when our guest is here.
Okay.
And let them make the announcement. I don't
Ah,
want to make it for them.
I think I know what this is, which is interesting.
Yeah,
Yeah, this is good.
yeah.
Good stuff.
I'm gonna polish my ring before. Oh, I don't wear a ring, but I would polish it if I had it.
Yeah.
I think we've hit the witching hour. Holy
I
shit,
think we have. We sure have. We had some good talks tonight. Good
we
talkings.
really did. As usual, the chat has been chatty. You all are awesome, and I kept up. I
Yes,
kept up.
yes. Thank you for the comments, everybody. We always like an involved and interested audience. Please click the thumbs up on your screen if you liked the show. Please subscribe if you have not subscribed. It's so easy to subscribe, folks. It's really easy.
Yep. David, I'll see you tomorrow in the Discord chat, folks. We do a Discord
Mm.
chat on Thursday nights
Ooh,
from
okay.
9 to 10:30, 11ish, depending on how things are going. That's on the Tenkar's Tavern Discord. If you are on the Discord, you're always invited to join us. It's
Yeah.
kind of like this, just with the community.
And, and also sometimes like last week when we first started out, it was just me, Eric, and David. We talked for about 30 minutes, and all of a sudden everybody started piling in. But
Yes,
sometimes it's just nice and quiet. And you can just talk to us, and we'll just
yeah.
talk about whatever, and it's
And
awesome.
sometimes you have like 15 people in,
Oh dear
which,
God,
by,
yes.
by the way, a warning: the vast majority of people in that chat room, the speakeasy, are going to be on push to talk. Because if we don't do that, uh,
It gets really
before
confusing. Yeah, it gets bad.
somebody was eating dinner with their family, and
Yeah.
I'm not talking Bill. It wasn't Bill Webb, but somebody. I was just like, I got to mute this person. I don't want to be
I know.
mean, but we don't need that. That's not the open mic that you want to have. So,
Yeah,
oh, good luck.
we've had some incidents. Yes.
Good luck to your sports ball team, Mike. Go Texas Team
Well,
Rangers.
we're gonna have a tough year this year. It's not gonna be like last year was a very big surprise. So I'm just gonna bask in the look. All this season, Eric, we're the defending World Series champions. I'm just gonna bask in that all year, even if we only win like 30 games. I'm just gonna still
Well, in this
bask in the
case,
fact
you'll be the
we're the
defending
defending.
World Series champions who had the largest change in
Yes.
their ability to play.
All right.
We went from world champions to double A ball. It's
You know
amazing.
what though? You know what they say though about baseball, Eric? They say banners fly forever, which they're true. Flags fly forever. So you
Uh,
can't take it away from us. Sorry.
you can't, but you can mock it.
No, no, you can't. Yeah, true.
So, folks, I would thank Mike, but he
Mm,
knows. I don't have to
yeah.
thank. I will thank everybody that was participating in our live stream. You guys are awesome, and gals.
Happy to
Uh,
see all the. I'm happy to see all the Ginny D fans there. Thanks, you everybody. We'll try to talk about her more next time because so many Ginny D fans out there. I'm
yeah, Mike,
so
Mike,
happy to
Mike
see
wants
that.
her as a guest.
I'd love to have her as a guest. She can only help us. We would hurt
Oh,
her,
well,
but she could help
true.
us.
We probably
She,
double our viewership.
yeah,
I don't know,
yeah.
but we didn't even touch upon. All right, we'll save this one for next week. No, we didn't
Which
touch
one?
upon
Which one?
Xandering.
What
The
was that? What?
Xandering.
Oh yes, boy. That and I went to Janelle's funeral last
Yep.
week, and it was very, very tasteful, very nice. I'm so glad I was there to see Becky and everybody. It was a really cool occasion. A lot of friends were there. Um, and it was a very they did a good job. They did a really good job. Becky talked. All of Janelle's kids spoke. Janelle's brother and sister were there. Becky's kids were there. It was a very interesting family affair, and it was very tasteful. And um, I'm glad I went. I could not. I have a real hard time looking at bodies laying in state. I couldn't do that. But other than that, it was really good. They did a good job. So
Okay.
very
Good.
very very sad, but that was interesting because I think we had a definitive answer on.
We
on
did, and then it became
yeah,
something non-definitive.
yeah.
And apparently, it's got when and I love Rob Conley. When Rob Conley comes to me
Oh boy.
with stories about that, and is when Rob gets a little pissy because he's annoyed, I was like, and he's telling me stuff that I didn't even hear about. I was like, ooh. So actually, maybe folks, maybe this
Oh.
Friday, maybe on
Oh yeah, maybe
the
yeah. You
random
guys
party
talk about that.
generator.
I want to watch that because that was an interesting thing that popped up, and yeah, somebody in the industry kind of made an ass out of themselves over that, and that didn't
Yeah,
work out. It didn't work out very good for him. Let's put it that way.
and I feel sorry for Glenn because Glenn's been trying to get this person as a guest on our show, and I've
Yeah.
been I've been saying unkind things.
Well, it'd be tough now too if you haven't guest the show. You got to ask about it, and that's going to
Yeah,
be a really sore spot. And so, yeah.
my publisher made me do it. It's like, yeah, okay.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's when you tell your publisher, no, we're going to go with something else. Yeah.
that's what I told my wife. My
Yeah.
publisher made me do it. I
Mhm.
when I thanked my wife Lois as opposed to Rachel in my last RPG, because my publisher told me, no, this I know
Yes. Yeah.
Lois is your mother, but thank her as your wife.
Oh
Because
boy.
trust me, I'm your publisher. God help me.
Mm.
All right, folks. On that note, as always, be safe, be well. God bless. Roll those dice, roll them well. I'll be back again tomorrow with some random news. And next live stream is Friday night, 8 p.m. The Random Party Generator, RPG Live. See you then.
Good stuff. Bye.
Laters.